Right, yeah, everyone, we're back. Now, this is going to be a bit of a different video today, mainly because I'm not going to be showing you any training. I'm basically just going to be talking through what my prep's actually been like, and now that I can actually sit down and just talk through it rather than be in a rush to get to the gym and really skipping over stuff. So, first of all, this prep has been easily the easiest one I've done. So, I started competing at 16. I've done 5 shows, and this will be the 6th, but all those shows were done naturally. This is going to be my first enhanced season. And doing it enhanced is way easier. Like, yes, there's more cost and there's more risk. However, the process itself as a natural is much, much harder because you can't cope with some of the difficulties of prep with different peptides or drugs or whatever. As a natural, you just got to grit your teeth and you just got to fucking get the work done. It's as simple as that. Whereas, being enhanced, there's peptides that help with mitochondrial function and stress reduction and fat oxidation. And then there's the gear side of things where you can sort of keep energy levels because of these androgens you're putting in your system. As a natural, you don't get those luxuries. But as well, that doesn't mean it's been an easy prep. Like it's been the easiest. It's still difficult because I have a lot more muscle this time around as well. Muscle requires a lot of energy to use. It requires a lot of energy to function and maintain. Because I have much more muscle, when I'm depleted, I feel it a lot more. I'm much more tired. I'm much more lethargic. Like even at, I think it was like 5 or 6 weeks out, I did like a bit of a mountain walk with my fiance. The walk from bottom to top is about 20 minutes. Halfway on the way back down, I was getting like hypo, like shaky, like I had to put like 5 grams of honey in like a tea, just so that way I could get some quick digesting carbs into my system because I was just shaking like shit. So it's that kind of thing that also still made it kind of difficult is my body requires a lot more energy to run it. Like I'm still feeling the depletion side of things and my average calorie intake is 3,000 calories a day. Like that obviously varies because I have high, low and moderate days, but it still fucking takes it out of you. Now, in regards to training side of things, I've been on 4 days of training for quite a while now, and it's worked because for my body, stress does not do well. Right, my body does not handle, you see a lot of bodybuilders where they're training twice a day and they're doing an hour of Stairmaster and they're doing 15,000 steps. Cool, that might work for some people. For my body, it doesn't work. I just end up holding a fuckload of water and psychologically don't handle it well because of like I'm sort of freaking myself out because I know that my body isn't responding well. And so it just ends up spiraling and my like work efficiency goes down, like everything just goes to shit. So if you're thinking about going into a prep or you're even just cutting, sometimes more isn't the best option. Sometimes less is more. I'm only doing 10,000 steps a day. I'm only doing 2 hours of cardio over the entire week. And it's not Stairmaster. It's just incline treadmill. And I'm only training 4 days a week. And I'm not training balls to the wall hardcore training. I am doing what I like to call management training, where I'm literally just training enough to retain muscle tissue. So like I'm training to about 2 RIR. It's not like I'm training like a pussy and I'm going in and just like walking through the motion. Definitely still training with intent, but I don't need to push like I do in a growth phase because I don't have the food to have the recovery or the training capabilities. So there's no point in just trying to force this effort for nothing if my body can't handle the stress of it, right? And then nutrition side of things, this has been the easiest yet the most difficult. It's been the easiest in the sense that like I have a better relationship with food this season because previous seasons I had a terrible habit of watching people eat food. Like, the mukbangs, the competitive eaters, all that sort of shit. Now, mind you, I can click on one of those videos every now and then, but I can stop myself. Whereas previous seasons, I've watched people and it wasn't until after the fact that I realized that was the thing that made it so difficult because I was constantly making myself hungry by watching these super, super like appetizing foods and then I wouldn't be eating much. And as well, it made me want the shows to be over sheerly so I could go and eat more food and then I'd go and eat those foods and it wasn't as fulfilling as I thought it was going to be. So, well, yeah, every now and then I'll watch like a food video, like a reel that pops up and stuff, but I'm not like just churning through them because you end up creating this essentially, like, your body is getting this dopamine response because your brain's like, fuck yeah, like, there's food, but it's just a video. It's not actually there. And so, yeah, having a better relationship with food this time around is major. And I think that's one thing that a lot of you can take away if you are planning on going into a prep. Fix your relationship with food first. If you depend on food for emotional stability, you are going to find it extremely difficult and you'll burn out very, very fast. Because for me, I am very much, in the sense, an emotional eater. Not in the sense that, like, anytime I'm emotional, I'll gorge. But when I'm in a state of a heightened emotion, I'm not someone who starves. Like, I'm not one of those people who, like, doesn't get hungry. I get extremely hungry. Or, like, when I get sick. A lot of people, when they get sick, they don't want to eat. I want to eat fucking everything. And it sucks. But, so that's one thing I've had to navigate this prep, is because I can't just go and eat whatever I want. You kind of just have to learn to cop the feelings, swallow the emotion, and just fucking keep moving forward. Because at the end of the day, there is a lot more value in this goal for me than what there is to get that like immediate emotional relief. But as well, if I gave into it, I would hate myself for it, and then I'd end up spiraling. So it's a matter of having that forward thinking to be like, all right, I am emotional right now. Right now, my brain, all it wants to do is just eat a bag of Maltesers. But what's going to be after that? So you need to have some foresight to understand, like, hey, yes, immediately it is going to help, but I guarantee you're going to feel like shit after. And a lot of people end up coping. They go, oh, but I needed it. Oh, it's not that bad. Oh, it's this, it's that. At the end of the day, if it doesn't give in, like, if it doesn't help with you and your results and the goal that you have, it doesn't fucking matter what your coping mechanism is or what you tell yourself. You shouldn't have done it. It just is that simple. Because at the end of the day, yeah, you might be emotional, but you're not going to die. You will be okay, right? You're not going to starve. It's not like if you don't have it, you're just going to fucking pass away. That's not the case. You're okay. You'll get through it. And then as well, like, there's not as much stress this prep around either, because there's not as much, like, financial stress. There's not as much job stress either. Because, like, my last prep, bro, like, I'm 2 weeks out tomorrow. My last prep, I was like a nightclub security guard. I was a supervisor for a popular nightclub in Newcastle called the Cambridge. I was dealing with a brawl like 2 weeks out, and it was cold on the door. And for stress reasons, I shouldn't be dealing with that. But also as well, I don't want to fucking deal with that when I'm depleted and 2 weeks out. So there's not that stress either. I've got a circadian rhythm. I go to bed at very similar times. I'm getting 8 hours of sleep. And so I'm not having to deal with that. But as well, like, I can have more regular meal timing and, as I said, like, financial stress. Because thankfully, and, you know, all glory to God, but I am making enough money to where I don't have to stress during prep. Whereas last prep, every single fucking dollar was going into, like, competing. And I wasn't even, like, enhanced. I wasn't even on drugs. You know, it was all going into, it was either food, or it was the tanning, or it was going into the competition, or it was my coach. Like, I wasn't saving money, not at all. But this dream means so much to me that it didn't matter. And so I'm just, you know, I'm very thankful that I don't have to deal with that stress this time around. So overall, the circumstances in every single aspect are different. And I'm even thankful enough to where, you know, my fiance is extremely helpful. Like, she understands that I'm very depleted right now. And so she is willing to help with more things, like, around the house. Because we share, like, you know, tasks around the house, like washing, chores, and all that sort of stuff. But she is very supportive and willing to pick up a bit of the pace, knowing how tired I can get. And, you know, I'm aware that I'll have to give back on that. And not because she's expecting that of me, but because that's just the right thing to do. You know, because this is a sport where, while yes, it is a solo sport, it is not a lonely sport. Having a very strong, supportive network around you is so fucking major. And so, like, having a good coach, having a good partner. That's why, like, most bodybuilders have partners, because it is a fucking difficult sport to do alone, because there are those emotional times and you do need someone who you can at least just bounce your thoughts off of. So in that way, you're not just constantly keeping them up in your head. So I'm very thankful in that aspect as well, that also this time around, my supportive network is a lot better Like I've still had my fiance at my last couple of competitions, but more so in the fact that like I've got a better coach, I have a mentor, I have other people who live the lifestyle, and so they're more understanding of the things that I go through. Whereas like bodybuilding is still such a super niche sport. And so when you tell people the problems of bodybuilding, they sort of just stand there silently because they don't understand. And the fact is they never will. But that's okay because they don't have to understand. But it's important that you do have some people around you that understand because it can get difficult. Now, it's not the most difficult fucking sport in the world. It's one of, 100%, especially psychologically. But it's also just not difficult in the grand aspect of what is difficult in life. You know, family loss is difficult. Working an oil rig is difficult. Being a roofer in the Australian summer is difficult. Bodybuilding in the grand scheme of difficulty of things in life is not that difficult. But obviously it can feel like that in the moment because, you know, it's different for everyone. Everyone's hardest day is their hardest day, no matter what that looks like to someone else. So yeah, that's been my prep so far. I just wanted to give you guys a bit more of a sit down, a bit more of an insight into what's going on. Now, trust me, I could fucking ramble on forever. I would love to eventually do like a podcast style of things because I do like this long form style of talking. I feel like, you know, I can really vocally stream of conscious very well, but you know, that's down the future. So for now, I hope you enjoyed. I hope this wasn't too boring for you. If it is, leave some feedback. And if you'd rather just see me fucking do some training or do a mix of both, let me know because I still want it to be a mix of entertaining but authentic. Alrighty, so hope you guys are doing well. God bless, and I'll talk to you soon.